Hello everyone, welcome back to One United. Today we will do a match review,
Oh,
match preview. Hi Kira, how are you?
fine, thank you. Macam cerita di sana.
Yeah, apa dia?
Macam cerita di Bintulu.
Oh, Bintulu. We having a new cluster. Kan? So
Hai.
still stay at home lah. Okay, before we start, I just want to have one disclaimer maybe. We have a feedback yang saying since we are Malaysian-based channel, why don't we speak a lot more Malaysian and not fully English? So sebab itu saya bersetuju sebab mungkin ada viewers kita yang lebih selesa kalau dengar bahasa Melayu kan. So we decide that we gonna mix lah. So for the benefit of the non-Malay speaking as well kan. Because I know we have some international viewers in our IG channel. So kita campur-campur, tapi yang penting, point penting tu kita akan cakap, kalau boleh kita cakap dua-dua bahasa lah. So the point sampai lah. So untuk benefit for both yang cakap Malay and non-Malay speaking kan. Okay. So today is our match preview, but of course before match preview we will talk some few issues, right? Because usually we have different segment lah our plan, but since the game for project restart ni kan very thick and fast, sekejap game after 2 days, setiap 2 hari game. So kita akan our match preview tu usually kita akan include sekali semua hot topic yang kita akan cakap lah. Okay, sebelum tu kita akan start dengan our first topic yang we promise to talk carry forward from our last segment tu on De Gea and Henderson. Okay, De Gea versus Henderson. So recently we know match dengan Spurs kan. I think De Gea has been heavily criticized, especially by our former captain Roy Keane. Right? He even said that De Gea is one of the most overrated goalkeeper in the in the recent years. How do you have to say about that? Apa pendapat pasal MDA tu?
Susah nak cakap lah. Actually, banyak masa David De Gea dah tolong kita sebenarnya. Dah tolong kita in a lot of situation when our defense was quite leaking. And kalau tengok kat game Spurs tu pun, patutnya lah that goal wasn't really his fault. And he made a really good save dekat second half tu. Tapi kata criticism tu fair lah. Tapi kalau tengok statistik dia untuk season ni, macam ada kebenaran dia jugalah. There's truth to what Roy Keane has said for his achievement for this season lah. And you know, after being in United for 9 seasons, kita dah patutnya expect yang you may have a change in the back four, tapi if you are the keeper yang dah 9 tahun dekat MU, should have been taking charge lah. Bila you nampak fans was disorganized, you should be the one organizing it back lah. It didn't really happen, and goals still came in. Susah nak cakap lah.
In a way I agree what you said lah kan. Dari segi season ni, kalau ikut memang dia punya performance tu suspect lah kan. I think there's 4 or 5 mistake, especially in the league lah, yang direct mistake yang lead to goal kan. Kalau most recently kita ingat yang dengan Everton tu, and then he wants to take the back pass, so and he kick directly to Richarlison, I'm not mistaken kan. So those are one example, and then the is it Watford goal? No. I think Watford, when we lose 2-0 against Watford, is it? Yeah, that the header. He should save that, but tapi he sort of push it into goal. So those are the two example of David De Gea mistake that lead to goals. So I think in terms of this season, yes, his performance is not up to the high standard that he's put for himself lah. Right. But to say he's one of the overrated goalkeeper in recent years, I think itu agak lebih lah. Aku tak setuju lah kan. Keane tu
tak setuju lah.
Biasalah Keane tu kan, kita dah tahu perangai dia kan memang sekeren kan.
Kan? Like we know kan not sure whether is it during, I think if I'm mistaken it's during Mourinho's time when Mourinho fired dia punya apa yang dia yang dah bersama De Gea ni for such a long time, affected affected dia punya mindset I think, and I think that carried forward to this season lah. But it's a good thing lah kalau tengok Sasha pun disagree with and he believes in De Gea. So hopefully that gives some confidence to De Gea so that you know dia boleh cari orang kata hidayah lah untuk maju balik kan.
Yalah. Tapi memang ada certain mistake creeps in. Not sure why. Adakah sebab age? Sebab De Gea ni kalau we look his game mostly based on agility, right? So maybe due to age as well, maybe his reflex is a bit ni. But most of the goal tu not because of reflex. Kalau tengok kan, kalau you tengok macam goal, kalau kita let example Spurs tu semua macam positioning ataupun punya isu lah kan, lambat nak tahan what not. Tapi kalau you tengok kalau reflex kalau you tengok the save that he made against Son's header, right? I think the one that he made, right? Do you remember that save, right? So that still show he still have that cat like reflex lah kan. So I think maybe nak kata issue focus pun I'm not sure. Maybe ada sebab maybe I'm not sure he's contemplating on leaving apa kan at one point kan, especially masa Mourinho kan. Maybe that thought is there kan. Kan Mourinho has a lot of issues kan. We have during Mourinho's problem kan. During Mourinho's era, I'm sorry. So now maybe that has sort of affected his focus lah, I think. I think it's more of a mental thing. If you ask me, it's more of a mental thing than an ability thing, because he still have the ability. Even this season pun dia dah buat quite typical De Gea save lah kan. Tapi yang mistake tu semua yang simple mistake yang he would not be making lah previously lah kan.
Kalau tengok it's all about confidence lah. Even the goal by Bergwijn last week actually, yes, there was a mistake by the defense, tapi usually you would see that De Gea will try to make himself really big in order to block the shot properly lah. And in a sense that actually it's a direct kick to him tau. So kalau if he's a very good keeper, dia patutnya takkan teragak-agak untuk save it. But you can see that he was hesitating, and kalau if he was younger, you would see that he would actually push himself forward juga to further close the space. That didn't happen. And again, kita tak pernah nampak, we never see De Gea have that level of confidence like we have with Van der Sar or Schmeichel, whereby those kind of things, yes, he could have done something, but he should tell his defense, you're not protecting me and you're not doing what you're supposed to do. So itu tak nampak juga. In the end macam tak fair untuk dia carry the team alone. So kita we have to say that we disagree with I mean I disagree dengan Keane lah. Apa yang dia buat, apa yang dia cakap tu tak senang lah. Cuba dia dudukkan keeper. Itu macam tu lah.
Kau nak dia maki kau?
Kikan aja. Tapi itulah, kalau tengok statistik dia kat sini, actually compared to last season, he's actually doing a lot better tau. Sebab season he has 1.42 goals per every 90 minutes. This season is only 1.3 goals, 1.03 goal per minute.
Exactly, as a whole, memang especially since the acquisition of Maguire kan, our defense has improved lah kan. If you can see the stat kan, we are the second best team in terms of clean sheet in Europe, right? During the before we have the lockdown, right? So I think the issue is that because his mistake this season is very glaring kan. Dia punya mistake tu memang dia buat salah terus gol. Salah yang memang terus bagi gol kat pihak lawan memang. So that's why the sort of make it bigger lah kan, make it put in the spotlight because of those mistakes are very costly kan. Jadi itulah. So
it's not really talking about costly. Yep.
So
agree.
we're talking about De Gea. You're saying?
Think about the mistake that he's done. Actually, he has a lot more competition these days, and people keep on trying to bring him down and trying to compare him with the other players. Keep on trying to sell out his unhappiness in MU. So I think benda-benda tu semua yang menyebabkan dia it's not really good in terms of his mentality lah, affecting his mentality. We all agree that it's not that from the batch yang akan be apa assertive when facing criticism. Is very easily affected by criticism, and I think that's also not helping his confidence lah.
Yep, that's why. Agree lah. Memang suasana semua dalam kepala dia lah, mental punya issue ni lah. Kan? So since kita cakap pasal De Gea, right? So obviously when we talk about De Gea, especially dengan his form, kan? Dia punya form tak apa bagus So obviously another name we came up lah. Henderson, right? This season. Right? Should he be number one? So if you compare the stats, right? Like let me glance through, right? So games played, Henderson 29, De Gea 32 games. Clean sheet, Henderson 12, De Gea 10. Goals conceded, De Gea 34, Henderson 27. Save per game, Henderson 2.9 saves, De Gea 2.6. Save percentage, 76% to compare 71% to Henderson. So basically everything kalau ikut stat kat situ lah yang aku baca hari tu, memang Henderson better stat lah kan. And then not only the stat, I think kalau if you look at Henderson's performance with Sheffield this season, and you can see his ability, right? And he himself even said that he wants to play for United, right? He wants to show. He even said that if they were to we were to loan United, bagi loan ni kat Sheffield this season, dia akan perform sekali lagi. Dia akan kata dia akan show what United is missing lah kan. So what do you think about Henderson ni? Should he be made the first choice, or should he at least next season bring back from Sheffield to challenge De Gea, or we should give him another season at Sheffield? What do you think?
For me actually we usually kalau for keepers and for back fours, usually you see with age comes maturity and comes experience. And for me actually here kalau tengok dia punya statistic for the past 9 seasons with MU, his best statistic was less than around 0.76 goals per 90 minutes. Kalau compare dengan Henderson, which for this season is 0.86 goals per 90 minutes. Macam nak kata De Gea ni dia boleh further sebenarnya. In that sense, I think I like his confidence. I mean, I like Henderson's confidence. And kalau dia betul-betul dia boleh tunjukkan dia punya confidence tu in the sense that dia boleh lead the back four, why not? Because I would really love it kalau kita ada keeper yang gila lah dekat belakang tu. Nak gila-gila macam Bates I mean gila-gila like Van der Sar.
Yang tu gila ni tu.
Yang
Bates gila ni tu.
Van der Sar dia kalau you tengok even dengan Ferdinand dengan Vidic at the back four pun, kalau if any of them did something that
memang dia maki tu ya.
Dia akan maki, dia menjerit masa tu.
Oi, bodoh oi.
Macam tu kan.
Ya. Dari situ memang dari segi agresif macam controlling dominating your box memang have to be said De Gea ada bit lacking lah kan. Rarely you see De Gea teruk maki dia punya defend ke apa kan. You rarely see that lah.
Nampak benda tu, and unless kalau again another thing coming back to the whole MU punya team ni, a lot of captain changes after Rooney left, and so far Maguire looks like a good candidate, not to say a great candidate, not tapi Again coming back to the last game, Goyer pun yang left the space open untuk Bergwijn, Bergwijn. So and then you didn't see him rallying the players around. Nampak dia ni, and then dia pun sendiri tak bagi some pep talk to De Gea to increase his confidence. You see after that goal, actually you expect that MU will try to push back, knowing Spurs punya,
Counter
I mean knowing most punya approach kan, whereby bila dia dapat satu goal dia akan terus defend kan. Instead you see you kena push further back, and benda tu actually membebankan lagi mindset players, and kita tak nampak any rallying call from anyone. After the halftime break, then you see the confidence coming back up lah. Bila Pogba masuk pun lagi confident kan. So macam ni, actually I would say that and if Henderson can bring further confidence to the back four, I'd say he would be a very good a keeper for MU right now lah. If not, I think it's better for us to stick dengan De Gea because of his contribution to the team, and it's only about building up his confidence and giving him authority lah. Maknanya kalau boleh, Maguire pun kena have some respect, show some respect to the De Gea, and let him really dictate space, and accept yang kalau dia ada buat salah, dia kena cakap dengan De Gea, you can tell me what I did wrong. You can give feedback to me so that I know I need to cover you. Tapi benda tu semua tak nampak. So gantung pada keadaan lah. Listen, I don't really watch his game, but knowing that he's playing for Sheffield United yang baru promoted, and then suddenly at 7th place right now.
Surprise package of this season.
Surprise package of this season. I would say that dia and usually players yang from ni, dia orang memang suka kalau boleh maki player lain, dia akan maki lah. So I believe in terms of confidence, he's not missing it. And then from the statement yang cakap tadi tu, so if he can carry on that confidence back into MU, I'd say we appreciate what they have done, but it's time to give space to players that we need lah.
Yep. So itulah pasal De Gea ni, kita nak jadi macam habis madu sepah dibuang kan. Because during masa when we are shit kan, I think how many season he saved our ass kan.
Betul lah.
Kan, how many season he's the best player of the season technically kan. So I think he's still one of the best goalkeeper. I think like macam muka benda mental lah, mental thing. And for Henderson, he's definitely for me is the future lah, kan. But kalau orang tanya aku prefer still loan dia one more season kat Sheffield, one more season, next season. Next season after next season, then you bring him in. Then he challenge De Gea. Kan. Then now we talking about keeper ni, kadang-kadang kita lupa one thing yang kita overlook one thing, which is we have a very, I would say, world-class second choice goalkeeper in Romero. I think most of us tends to forget that kan. I think kita patut bersyukur tak banyak keeper yang caliber macam Romero sanggup jadi keeper nombor 2 kan. Technically Romero tu can start as I think dia lagi bagus pada first choice Chelsea sekarang ni, Kepa lah kan. But for him to willing to become understudy for De Gea, it's something yang United fans have to be really grateful lah kan.
Bagi aku Romero, the thing about Romero is that you may call him an understudy or a second choice, but actually it's not because of tapi again having player like dia yang easily affected by mentality, and you do what you do to De Gea what you did to Kepa akan definitely break dia punya confidence tau. Like what happened to Kepa, he was a very good keeper, but he made several mistakes, and then suddenly dia yang jadi kambing hitam. Dia yang kena scrap, and you see that confidence slowly ebbing away. And you know, last nak terpaksa ganti dia, bagi dia build up balik confidence and baru masukkan dia balik, and now you see that, you know, he's not yet best he's not yet
At his best lah,
to
belum
his
lagi
best,
belum lagi top
tapi
form lah.
tapi dah nampak lah dia dah start to have confidence balik. Tapi macam so same thing, macam Dihya ni, kalau kita apa, kalau kita immediately jatuhkan dia, memang susah nak naikkan dia balik. And if you keep on and kalau kita letakkan Romero ni sebagai punya first choice keeper macam ni, the moment definitely dia memang akan leave lah. But I think it's a fickle balance in trying to maintain De Gea's confidence versus the team needs. Even then pun, actually Romero pun, you don't really see him again. Dia tak assertive. Tapi at the very least dia try to accommodate. They try to accommodate and they try to link up dengan the defense as much as possible. Tapi macam Kia, sometimes they try to link up, tapi most of the time if you see, even during passes whatsoever kan, tak beritahu, dia mengharapkan macam, okay, korang jaga ke tempat korang, aku kan just try to push the ball away as much as possible, which is why dia jarang tangkap bola dululah. Jap.
Okay, it's okay.
Nak kena.
Tak apa. Go ahead. So I was saying about Romero kan, I think Kira said it before. I think that's shows the importance of having a very good second choice goalkeeper and dependable lah, at least, yang boleh harapkan lah. Sebab kalau let's say hang goalkeeper hang tengah low confident ke, macam Kira sebut tadi, they are having a bad patch of form kan. Sometimes you need just to pull them out for the firing line, right? Just to hide them, cover them from all that criticism yang orang duk kata ni. Kita tarik keluar dulu, bagi dia relax dulu tepi, bawa masuk keeper second choice. Tu yang penting ya. My point yang aku cakap tadi, ada keeper second choice yang bagus, yang boleh harap. So we don't have no issue lah kalau we have to in a way change it up a bit lah kan. Okay, that's I think we talk quite lengthy juga lah about goalkeeper ni kan. Why don't we go to the opposite? We go to the attacking line. Exciting news. I think most United fans are excited about this. But will he or won't he? Kita talk about Jadon Sancho. So multiple credible sources, tier 1 sources lah, macam Fabrizio Romano, David Ornstein, semua have confirmed kan Sancho memang he wants United lah. If there's an offer, if Dortmund agrees with fee, then he will come. He wants United. Basically, he wants to come, right? So the issue now is only between Dortmund and United lah, nak agree harga lah kan. There ada report said Dortmund dah agree dah 90 juta with add-ons yang can go up to 115 million pound lah. Tapi that one have not been confirmed yet by credible tier 1 lah kan. That one I think only tier 2, tier 3 lah kan. That source too. So we still waiting lah if any development. But we're not talking about that in detail. Will he come? We're not going to analyze that, how credible it is. We're just going to talk about Jadon Sancho. So will he be the one that going to broke the number 7 punya curse since Ronaldo left? How many number 7 we have since Ronaldo left? We have Owen, we have Di Maria, we have Valencia, who was that number for one season, for a season, and he gave that up. And lastly, we have the most useless number 7, Sanchez.
Sorry, kalau dia most useless, aku akan cakap actually still Owen lah. Even though actually dia dah score 1 goal kan, tapi
Owen punya cut status tu dia save sebab dia score that last minute winner dengan City tu. So just by virtue of that, his cut status is safe lah. What are your thoughts on Jadon Sancho? Will he improve or do we need him? Do we really need him?
It depends lah actually, because macam sekarang ni, if you see kan, I think first of all kita kena tahu yang Sancho ni actually is it a marketing move or is it really a football move? Kita tak ada lagi director of football yang actually boleh assist Solskjaer in trying to move the squad forward.
Mhm.
And kita pun dah nampak actually at times Solskjaer pun dia tak tahu best formation yang dia boleh play with. And so kita tertanya, kita beli Danny James this year, and he looks like the player. He looks like the manager yang try to build a team rather than buy plug and play macam our noisy neighbours kan.
Mhm.
Bukan macam tu. So you really have to, kita really kena tengok actually Sancho ni memang Solskjaer punya purchase ke atau it's just a marketing move like what happened to Sanchez lah.
Agreed.
So kalau kena tengok lah in terms of his achievements, memang cantik lah, kita kata memang terbaik lah.
20 goals, 90 assists this season. 18 assists. 19, sorry.
Ikut sini ya, dia punya statistik dia for this season memang cantik lah. Tapi kita really have to question lah. Kita MU ni sejak zaman Moyes banyak sangat case tapi tak pakai. Itu yang risau tu. Having said that, actually kalau Sancho datang and Lingard keluar, then I guess it's justifiable lah.
Yeah, if you ask me lah, I think Sancho will be a perfect fit lah, especially playing the way you want to play, because right now if you can see, we're not really playing with a sort of a macam traditional winger. You see, I think there's no more team that really plays with traditional winger. Maybe championship team, maybe the old school English club, right? Style. But now more to sort of inverted winger. I think mostly like Rashford inside is inverted winger, or winger that cuts inside and that play quick 1-2 passes, right? And Sancho is that type of winger, right? He's creative, right? He can cut inside, he can score goals. It's definitely, right? Because now if you can see macam if you see Liverpool, right, most goals now, the main goal threat comes from the winger itself, kan? Macam kan Firmino is a Liverpool glorified defensive striker, centre forward. Right. So the point is saying that now the burden of the scoring goals not only on the centre forward, right? Usually centre forward is also part of the build-up play. It's different from, I think, the old school or traditional type where centre forward only focus on goal scoring, right? So now I think say we play 4-3, right? So the whole three forwards has the same burden of scoring and creating goals. So this is where I think Sancho fits in. And talking about Danny James, yes, so I purchased him, but he seems like a long-term purchase, someone for the future. And also I don't see him really as a starter, like even if he step up a notch, he's more like he's like second choice, or he's a really good backup player lah, kan. Tak nampak macam someone yang squad player lah, technically squad player lah, kan. So kalau Sancho is the first choice lah, basically, kan, playing there lah, kan. And memang we need a right sort of world class high level right side player lah, kan. Macam James is not there. It's not that yet. Although I like James very much as well. And Greenwood is mostly a centre forward lah, his best position lah. Although he can play there once in a while, but we need a ready-made top player lah, which is, I think, that's where Sancho comes in lah. I think Solskjaer himself is interested in Sancho because he sees he sort of one of the maybe not the final lah, but one of the pieces of the jigsaw lah to complete his team lah. And I think he can work really well with Martial and Rashford as well, who likes to roam. Especially Martial likes to roam, play link-up play, kan. Run behind the ball. So Sancho has that vision to pick up a pass and not just crossing like a traditional winger lah. So for me, we do need Sancho. If we want to step up to the next level, challenge Liverpool and City, we need this type of players.
Tapi tapi itulah kita cakap pasal benda ni kan. You gotta see the way Dortmund is playing actually.
Mhm.
If you see the current gameplay for Dortmund, can see that Erling Haaland ni he can pull players in, allowing more space for Sancho, or he can hold the ball so that Sancho can run to the box, or he can spread the ball away to the side for Sancho to cut in from the side. So having said that, um, that's the problem. That's the other problem dengan MU sekarang ni. James was primarily purchased as a apa ni? As a magnet tau sebenarnya untuk tarik defender away from Martial and Rashford. That's why actually you don't really see him you know being that sorry, they normally akan try to pull in the players to him lah.
Mhm.
Tapi I think MU punya taktik ni mungkin senang baca, and especially when you have players like Rashford and Martial playing that really don't want to hold the ball for too long. They really prefer to run with the ball straight to goal and try to have a shot, ataupun to be in a positional play whereby they can get good passes and try for a clean shot. So that's where actually James ni sekarang dia ada sesat sikit lah bila dia nak main ni, and players tak really datang kat dia. Bila dapat bola pun he's really at the edge of the line, and dia pun tak dapat nak cut in. So he's not really feeling dia punya punya role lah. If you see the first few games, what happened is people are more attracted towards the strikers, allowing him that space, and dia boleh cut in and shot in from the left and right side. That didn't happen, tapi actually kalau that doesn't happen anymore. So that's why at the moment, kalau betul if you want to go for Sancho, we really need to change the way we play. Either we really tell Martial you are not going to be you are going to be the target man. Whenever you get the ball, you need to spread it around. You cannot macam sekarang ni apa yang dia buat ni, dia dapat bola, dia nak try to turn around or have ni, ataupun dia just pass balik to Bruno and then try to run and hope for a true pass. That won't work kalau if you want to have Sancho in the team lah. Dia because less kalau kita Martial really beefs up, try to fight for the ball, what he did against Arsenal in his debut game tu, we won't be able to see benefit of having any class players pun partnering dengan dia. So kita actually that's why lah bagi aku James is a good squad player, like you said, correct. Sancho would be the first choice. Tapi again, masalahnya ialah siapa yang akan feed the ball to him tu. No akan feed the ball from the back, tapi you tengok the past few games, especially bila Haaland dah masuk tu, Haaland pun akan spread the ball to them so that he can in and run past the defenders. Kita kena cari striker yang selfless macam tu, macam Berbatov lah.
Yep. But in terms of passing, we do have that ability lah now. We have two of them actually. we can spray those passes lah. I think that's the general idea lah kan. Because talking about transfer, we talking about Sancho now, I don't think Pogba is going anywhere soon lah kan. Tak nampak macam nak belah lah kan. Dengan team pun economic condition tak bagus, I don't think ada team boleh afford dia lah. Tak mampu nak beli dia mahal kan. So as of now, I think at least until next season, end of next season, Pogba will still be United lah, which is exciting lah. Nak kita tengok sekali lagi lah dia punya partnership dengan Bruno tu. Especially kalau tengok during training punya pictures kan, all smile lah. Especially nampak kalau dia punya relationship Bruno tu macam budding lah. kan? Which is what we want to see lah. Hopefully it translate into pitch. Hopefully this time around we see them start together for the first time, kan? Now since we're talking about that, let's go to our match preview against Sheffield. Right? So we know they have a very poor result against Newcastle, right? Lost 3-0, right? Kan? I think depa ni kata team yang surprise package lah. Kita tak sangka-sangka lah, kan? They still have chance to get to European football next season, right? With their back three formation, kan? And they're double overlapping with the midfield and the full wing back. So that's quite a revelation itself in their tactics, which works pretty well, really well for them, which is why they're in this position lah. Tapi nampak macam game Newcastle tu nampak maybe a bit lag lah, maybe because of the long layoff or whatnot, kan. Tapi I think since especially playing at home, I think United should win this game lah, quite comfortably lah. Especially kalau Bruno and Pogba, if we find the right balance in midfield lah, especially. I think Matic should start. Kalau nak play Bruno, I think Matic should start. Just because he's defensive dengan tactical acumen and discipline. What do you think?
Betul lah. Actually, if you take a look at Sheffield United punya formation, ni kan, it's interesting. This is the kind of formation that I think should go on if you want to play Pogba and
Bruno
together, because this is actually a 4-3-2 formation, whereby actually you really let go of that what you call it position, and you just focus attacking through the middle, and actually you punya striker yang dua orang kat depan ni, one can be a pseudo striker, a pseudo winger, and one go to the middle, or you can switch it up, go to the middle, and these two attacking midfielder ni boleh spread to the wings. So actually kalau buat macam ni, then I think can try to play Pogba and Bruno together, because we will have more firepower at the front, because right now they are technically the best ball carriers pun juga. If you take a look when we got that penalty against Spurs, was Pogba the right side, getting that penalty.
Yeah, exactly.
So something yang you tak patut nampak dari from midfielder, macam mana dia jauh sampai ke atas sana. So that's what we have been missing. If we play Pogba 2 reserve at the back, kita dapat dia punya passing range tu, but we won't get his tenacity whenever he's at the top, at the
final third, is it?
Final third.
Macam dia menang penalti dengan Spurs lah, kan? Because we know Pogba mas skillful, he can do those kind of things, kan? So that's why I think the balance lah, they find the balance, right? That's why I mentioned Matic, right? So I think he's the only one who can, as of now, provide the best, especially playing at home, kan? I assume Sheffield akan be a bit reserved lah. It's not going to go all out attacking, kan? Being in the away side, kan? And being quite deep. So this is type of game yang we should let Pogba and Bruno off the shackles lah, and then let someone yang to do the defensive duty lah, macam Matic lah, kan?
Sebab kita kena tengok jugalah. And again, if you take a look at the goal by Spurs tu, the problem has always been real balls. And for Sheffield, when you play through the middle, if you do not have, if you want to focus in playing a little bit back, you will definitely play that long ball and use that space between the midfielders and the defenders to effectively lah. That's what usually teams yang fight against top 6 akan try to do. So again, Matic, yes, she's okay in terms of aerial duels compared to McTominay dengan that. So I think yes. And actually tapi kalau tengok pada statistik, our best disruptor is still Fred sebenarnya.
Memang Fred.
When it comes to
Fred is best kalau he play box to box lah. Let's say we do have Pogba, right? Fred would be best come in there lah, kan? to be in another box-to-box midfield. But as far as a pure defensive midfielder, for me, Matic is the only one that we have right now. As McTominay and Fred is more of box-to-box. Maybe they can be developed into a defensive midfielder. But as of now, the only one with enough tactical ability lah, I would say lah, kan, is Matic lah. So if you want to play Pogba and Bruno, I want to let them off the shackle, bagi tak payah fikir apa, tak payah fikir belakang, apa fikir atas, right? Fikir atas, so kena ada someone yang balance that out lah, right? If you just let them go and we don't have someone capable protecting them, right? So it'll be a problem lah. We leave us to open pula, kan?
Itulah sebab tu kalau tengok balik pada taktik, kalau if you remember the Spurs game, pada ujung tu kita main sampai kan satu tahap kita actually play with a back three tapi with two defensive midfielders flanking Maguire and allowing Maguire to win those aerial balls sampai tahap macam tu. And actually when you have Matic in there also, kita akan nampak macam what we have dengan Carrick last time lah. By Carrick went all the way back into that back three punya formation bila dia cover that back three together dengan Vida dengan Ferdinand.
Basically that's the whole idea lah, kan. Basically kalau masa attacking tu kan, especially our full back go up kan, Matic will drop bit lah, kan.
Matic will drop a bit. He will become something like a defensive midfielder / a sweeper, and then Maguire boleh naik atas to cover all the long balls in that space between yang left by McTominay and what do you call it, Shaw on the left side, and on the right side actually Bailly on the air he's okay. We have seen him some mistakes there tapi overall dia okay. And actually I think Bailly dengan Wan-Bissaka they play similar kind of football. They like to close to their play to the opposition. They like to really force the opposition to make mistakes. So we have very good communication. So meaning to say, kalau BI tengah control this zone, control these players, Bissaka can to track other players. Compared dengan Lindelof, whereby Lindelof he's more like a zonal. Dia akan tunggu player datang kat dia and then he will try to tackle.
Exactly.
And that actually, dia ada masalah sikit dengan Wan-Bissaka, whereby nanti Wan-Bissaka akan teragak-agak, dia tak tahu Lindelof cover tidak player ni, dia pun kelang kabut nak cover that player, then there will be space on the left wing lah.
One of the major issue I think pasal Lindelof, I think he's a bit too similar with Maguire. Both likes the ball at their feet, right? Both good in aerial challenge but not too much on the ground, and they lack pace lah. Tak laju daripada dua ni, lembab sikit lah, kan. So sebab tu aku suka kalau Bailly yang partner dengan si Maguire ni. Kalau macam Bailly partner, Bailly kan very pacey kan, suka lari, he's very good at last ditch tackle kan. Although he's not as good as ball playing as ni, tapi tak good playing tu dia buat skill kot. Itu ingat lawan Chelsea tu, saya buat step over dalam kotak, buat step over, berani dalam kotak buat step over. I'm saying
he's confident kan.
He's confident. What I'm saying if Bailly was playing, I think he would got the block on the Berwin shot. He will get the block because he's fast enough to get in and make the block. So that's why I think beside Maguire, it needs to be someone who has pace because Maguire don't have pace. Although he has the aerial ability, he has the reading of the game, right? The leadership, we need someone with pace lah. We need different type lah. Macam dulu Ferdinand dengan what do you call, Vida kan. Vida is the hard type and Ferdinand is the so-called Porsche type kan. So we have two different types lah kan. So I would hopefully like to see Bailly start lah. Tapi itulah Bailly ni, his fitness is really an issue lah. If he doesn't have that fitness issue, I think he might be really top player at the moment. He still have the ability. I still think he has. If only he can stay fit lah, which is a big if lah, kan. Asyik kerja-kerja sikit injet kan. Kalau Firjo injet tak apalah, injet je lah, tak ada effect kot lah sebenarnya.
Dah Lingard injet lagi, aku alhamdulillah rasanya. Okay, tapi coming back to that, so centrist again nak tengok lah. I mean, you can see that itu satu masalah yang kita nampak for this season. Kita memang tak ada a set formation yang kita comfortable to use because especially after we purchase Bruno and kita keep on still trying to fit in here, change the position there, and then whenever we are chasing games, kita tukar lagi. So I really want to see if Solskjaer can really made up his mind so that he knows yang dia betul-betul perlukan untuk for the next season and ni lah. So meaning to say macam sekarang ni, kalau if he sees Maguire doesn't have a very good partner in either Lindelof or Lee, is he going to playing time to Timothy Fosu-Mensah, or is he going to let Santos Zibi into the team, or does he want to totally get a new player, Koulibaly maybe, to fit in that role, or macam mana lah, kita tak nampak tau, because he keep on trying to see whether he wants to play with back 3 or he wants to play with back 4. Kita tak tahu yang dia punya actual ni. Tapi kalau for me, yep. Mo.
Bagi aku lah, I think he changing up the formation is early on the season tu memang it's not good lah. Tapi as the season goes on, I think he did settle to a 4-2-3-1 lah kan, 4-2-3-1 kan, 4-2-3-1, and then mostly he changed it up during big games lah, which I think is quite good lah. Show tactical humour kan, he knows, he has a game plan lah kan kat situ kan. Tapi they say eventually we want stick sort of consistent formation lah ataupun personnel lah with that formation. I think dia belum ada semua player and then not lagi to sort of do his vision, execute his vision, right? I think it's still a few pieces of the puzzle that still needs to be acquired, which hopefully we will do during this transfer window, right? But at the moment, I think if you ask me, I think at least at home, especially if you look at our fixtures, right? Mostly we're playing the so-called lesser team lah, kan? So I think he should start with Pogba and Bruno each game, no question, right? He should start with them. I think that should be the 4-3-3. I think should be the most stable formation lah, provided you can have a really top or world class defensive midfielder lah. Especially if you want to have a play nak main Pogba and Bruno kan in that attacking position, sort of macam orang kata playmaker kembar, twin playmaker kan, macam De Bruyne dengan Silva kan. So they have Fabinho kan, Fernandinho kan. So we need someone like that lah. That's why I say sekarang ni yang the most natural defensive midfielder United have memang Matic lah kan, memang Matic lah. So that's why I said from now on, if you ask me, 4-3-3 lah. 4-3-3 in the midfield tu Matic, Pogba, Bruno, then up top Rashford dengan Martial memang dah Stone Cold memang starter, and then either tengok game lah. Kalau game kita nak main counter, usually pakai James better. Kalau kita tahu team agak sip deep, which is macam aku cakap lah, game-game yang our final game ni mostly dengan lower team kan, yang most likely they will play deep. Better play Greenwood lah, because he's more clinical kan, and he has the finishing kan. Macam itulah. So tapi especially this next game, especially at home ni, he has to start both Bruno and Pogba, and I think he should start Greenwood lah. That's the formation I will go lah.
As for me, actually, I would say kalau tengok pada current gameplay kita ada, we might as well try to go for a little bit more. I would say assertive punya kind of gameplay lah. 5-2 is still my preferred option with the current team that we have. And the other thing is actually tak kisahlah sebenarnya kalau nak settle on 4-3-3 ataupun 5-2. Yang kita perlukan daripada Solskjaer going forward is that dia kena set that position so that he knows pelapis yang akan datang at that position lah. For instance, we cannot have 2 or 3 Pogbas in the team sebenarnya. If Pogba gets injured, takkan nak tukar formation semata-mata nak accommodate the injury. So that's not right lah.
Exactly. But, that's another point lah. Maybe you finish first. Finish your point first.
So dalam kata lain, that's the thing yang I think most people are saying that we need a director of football to actually identify the pace yang akan datang tu. We haven't seen actually starting in the 2000s for MU especially yang pace yang really made it. Even McTominay pun, even though we say that technically he made it, but he's still a little bit on the fringe just because we cannot get anyone better who's playing. But if we ended up buying a defensive midfielder, McTominay will not be able to play because at the moment one time you are telling him to play like this, and another time you are telling him to play like this. So in the end dia tak bergerak. You can see that happen way back with Tom Cleverley.
Yep.
So that's why kalau kita nak main 3-5, if we want to play a 4-3-3 punya formation, especially if you want to play Pogba dengan Fernandes, you will only see one defensive midfielder punya role, and you have 3 players there. And if the moment when you play like that, Matic punya gameplay is different compared to McTominay and compared to Fred. So kalau katakan Matic injured, you want to change it to McTominay or Fred, akan disrupt the whole game. Yang tu yang kita susah sikit nak cakap tu. That's why for me, if you want to play with both Bruno and Pogba, we need to have a way to accommodate all these 3 defensive midfielders yang kita ada ni yang boleh interchange lah, because they are going to be the hard workers, engine of the team sebenarnya, yang akan defend atas tu. So have to have a system whereby maybe McTominay, Matic and Fred ni diorang akan bertukar-tukar dari satu masa ke satu masa. So the other players are rigid, but them being the critical point of the whole team, will need to have resting time in between games lah. Kalau tak, memang kita akan nampak lah what happened last year, whereby we were good on 11, sudden everyone dah penat because we were playing a game that was
very high intensity. Yeah, itulah, itu conditioning as well lah, plays part of it lah. Tapi yes, exactly. You need to find a macam fix lah. Kalau defensive midfielder, you want this guy to be defensive midfielder, be defensive midfielder, right? But of course, I like the idea of having some utility players as well lah, kan? Macam midfield tu, let's say we have 2 attacking midfielder, 2 defensive midfielder. It's good to have one utility. You can play defensive, you can play box to box a little bit, So Fred can be that guy lah. But for McTominay, I think he should develop him to a defensive midfielder if he doesn't want to buy another one, right? Another specialist defensive midfielder, right? And as for you saying kalau Pogba get injured apa semua tadi kan, I think that's where Jack Grealish name comes up lah, kan? Right. Macam dia cakap, you need backup in every department, kan? Contoh lah macam dia cakap, nanti injured Pogba, injured Bruno kan, dah tak ada siapa dah, kan? So I think kalau nak cakap Jack Grealish, maybe we talk later on lah, kan? Tapi just to ni lah, just to saja sebut lah ni. Maybe that jadi lengthy pula discussion kita. Kan? So for apa? Cakap lah.
Okay, so itulah bagi aku actually we have good pelapis ni second and tier players yang not to say good lah, but good potential actually, same like what we saw in Pereira, whatever, in Pereira, and last time even yang Zai kan, kita ada tapi kita tak bagi dia orang set to play to tau. For instance, if you go to the Lama Slami Academy kan, macam kat Barca kan, you tell people you don't have to play like Xavi, but you have to be in a position like Xavi, and you have to find your own rhythm, and that's how you actually pick up the young players tau. So macam contohnya Pogba, we have Tahir Chong. He's technically a winger, tapi he can play in the attacking midfield punya role. Kita ada Pereira. To an extent, he's not young anymore, but we have Lingard. Kan tua lah.
We have Gardner.
So actually kita ada, tapi these players dia orang tak define by role tau. Orang kata macam sekarang ni you cannot see dekat individual you have to see individual skills, but you also have to look at the roles that have to play. And if you keep on changing that formation, untuk sentiasa berubah, you akan nampak confusion. And if you actually see this a little bit during the Spurs punya game, in the first half, whereby memang betul Bruno was tightly
Mark lah.
what do you call it, mark, but at the same time actually compared to his first game, you can actually see he's starting to have hesitation whenever dia nak make a true pass or whatsoever, because dia dah start nampak dah players are unable to play according to his rhythm. In the end, apa yang dia buat, bila dapat bola, dia terpaksa passing balik ke belakang sebab dia dah kena kepung kat depan, and then actually tak ada siapa yang bagi dia space to play around tau. Nak tolong dia play around, and kita kena improve in that term lah.
Yep, agree.
So formation hang pilih 4-3-3. Bagi aku is still 3-5-2 lah.
Still suka 3-5-2 lah. Okay, we'll
Aku
see.
prefer 3-5-2 lah.
3-5-2 aku suka kat for certain games lah, especially game big teams kan. Memang I think 3-5-2 is the way lah kan, to find stability lah kan, in terms of attacking kan ni tu kan. Okay, I think we talk about preview. Okay, lastly prediction weekend ni game apa, esok malam
Malam ke?
esok pagi lah.
Esok pagi. Lusa pagi
ya. Kita kena berjaga daripada esok malam lah. Berjaga pada esok malam.
Tapi bagi aku depends pada formation and depends pada player yang ada lah. If this is the first game kita nampak Pogba dengan Bruno play together, and if we become a little bit more adventurous, I can see we win more than one goal in margin. Probably either 2-1 or 3-1. Tapi again kena tengok jugalah apa skor dulu juga. Kalau Sheffield skor dulu, then ada potential sebenarnya another draw lah.
Okay, kalau
tapi final prediction 3-1 lah.
3-1 lah. Okay, still kata De Gea concede lagi lah.
Depends lah. Aku rasa dia punya confident tu masih tak tahu lah.
Okay, aku rasa aku bagi 2-0 lah. Maybe comfortable 2-0. And hopefully can score more, but I think I will go 2-0 lah. Okay, jadi itu saja segmen kita pada ni. We talk about De Gea versus Henderson. We talk about Sancho a bit, and lastly the match preview. So we'll see you guys in the match. Watch along nanti pukul 1 pagi. Alright, and the match reaction. So long for now. Bye bye. Thanks for watching.